welcome to Knit Night with Mekamika. I am your host, Shamika Clark. I am here hanging out with you in my living room with the whip wall, and we are going to have a fantastic time this year in 2024. It is now February 4th, Sunday, and we don't know what happened to January. It just kind of flew right past us. I meant to record in January, but things got a little crazy and here we are. So we're just going to keep it moving and I'm going to show you all my nitty good stuff and let's get into it. So I want to introduce to you this new concept that I came up with called Stash Galore 2024. It is something that came to mind when I was looking at a few different YouTube videos of people doing this minimalism, no buy, low buy, that whole sphere of influence. And I was listening to these people's stories and it kind of reminded me of how I acquired my stash. A lot of times I will go to a festival and I see a beautiful sweater and it's like, oh, just buy a sweater's quantity. And it became very normal, and this is all well and good because I love my yarn, but it became very normal for me to come home with 2 to 3 sweaters quantities when I go to Rhinebeck or VKL or cross country, across the world, across the pond, somewhere else. I come back with all this yarn. So it's not to say that I don't like what I already bought, because oh my God, I love everything. And I have bought things that I know intentionally I bought them and I know that these yarns make me happy, and they're souvenir yarns from around the world and they're all these good things. However, it became a bit overwhelming. And I sat down and I looked at my stash and I was like, this is a bit much. And looking at my stash got to be too much for me. And I reached out to my friends Erica and Jess from the Twin Aura Knits podcast. And then we kind of wrote in Shayla from Black Pearl Magic. And we have this ongoing conversation about how we are going to take a second look at our stash and make it like where we're shopping our stash instead of instantly shopping on the internet when things happen. But we know how it is. I'm going to be real with you. We know how it is. We're scrolling Instagram and all of a sudden this person has a limited edition update. And then this person has a limited edition update. And then you guys know I love pink. Valentine's Day is coming up. Valentine's updates are all over the place and it's pink all over the world. And I'm just like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? So I have set some ground rules for myself. I want to limit the amount of stash coming in. And I want to utilize as much stash as I already have going out. Going out meaning completing a project, right? So I am not going to just run to everyone's, whatever update and just buy because, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And I can't get it anymore. And this is I cannot be a product of or feed into this what do they call it, it's a marketing term, I forgot now. It's like I can't remember, but it's basically like when there's like a limited quantity, so like everybody rushes it. I can't do that anymore. I forgot the name of it, but if I remember I'll stick it down at the bottom. But I can't be a product of that anymore because I have reached a point where I have a lot and I love what I have, and I need to go forward and make changes in order to make a proper savings account and do other things with my money, like travel. Hello. That's what this year I want to have less things and more experiences. So that is where everything started. And then I came up with this idea. I have stash and I love it. And I'm not going to make myself feel guilty about having stash. I am not going to make myself feel bad about any of the purchases I've made, because when I made them, I was totally happy. And I have acquired 20 years worth of stash. And I have gone around the world and bought things in many different places and I love them all. I wouldn't even sell them. but I do love them all. So let's use what we have in Stash and make provisions for if we see something we really, absolutely, totally love, we will allow ourselves something and not go crazy, right? So I made myself a hall pass, like not H-A-L-L, but H-A-U-L. That's for my birthday. For my birthday, I can buy what I want. But until then, I am going to really try to knock down all these things that I have in Stash. All these whips behind me, they need to get finished or frogged or something. That is for a whole nother day because we're not getting into that today. But we are going to enjoy our stash. That's why it's called Stash Galore, because we're taking pride and happiness in the stash that we have. And this year we're going to work it down. So I'm going to explain to you what my rules are for myself. And it's a self-guided thing. Nobody is making you feel bad if, oh my God, I bought a skein of yarn and now, oh my God, the world's going to come crashing down. No, you bought a skein of yarn, you loved it, and you know what your limitations are. You know what to do with it. So let me give you a little bit more of an explanation. So what I did is in Excel, I quantified how much yarn I have. So that will be in a forthcoming video, but I basically wrote down, I categorized everything by weight, and then I wrote down the name of the yarn, the colorway of the yarn, how much meters or yards it is, or I converted meters to yards, and how many skeins I have, and if I had a project associated with it. And then I revisited those projects to say, you know, do I really still want to make this project, or can this be used in something else, right? And I have also fallen into the frame of mind of sock yarn is in Stash. Like, I would just go to a yarn shop. Sock yarn is in Stash. I buy a sock yarn just to support that yarn shop, right? I have a habit of doing that. I have a habit of doing that at festivals. So I remember I went to, where was it? Maryland Sheep and Wool. I think it was 2 years ago. It was pouring rain. We got there. We were tired by the time we got there because we spent a lot of time at Magpie, right? But we were tired, and I was like, oh my God, wherever I go first is where I'm going to buy. I'm going to just buy a skein of yarn, and then I don't know what's going to happen after this. And we ended up going to At Haynes' house. They now have a shop in, I think it's Virginia, Maryland. I'll put the name below. Gathering Yarns is the name, Gathering Yarns. So check it out. But they have their hand-dyed yarns as well as, you know, other yarns. But I literally bought one skein of yarn, and it was sock yarn. It was sock yarn is in Stash. So I figured I'd make a pair of socks with it. Now I actually have used that yarn in a sock yarn shawl. So that has kind of saved me. But I recall when I did my tally of sock yarns, those purchases became the most purchases that I had. Like, I have more sock yarn than anything in my stash when you break it down into those individual categories. And it's like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with all these sock yarn? I only have 2 feet. How many socks am I going to make? But lo and behold, we have sock yarn blankets, we have sock yarn sweaters, sock yarn shawls, different fade shawls, different, you know, Stephen West always comes out with these amazing shawls every year. So I have, you know, ideas that I can use all those yarns, put them together and make amazing projects. And it's things like that. It's like, when this beautiful pattern comes out, let's look at our stash and figure out what can we do to utilize the stash that we have and not go just run and go buy stuff, run amok, you know. Let's think about it, you know, because we did buy these stash with love. We bought it, you know, I wanted to support At Haynes' house when I bought that yarn. I wanted to make my trip to Maryland Sheep and Wool. Oh my gosh, it was pouring rain. I didn't want to come home empty-handed. Like, come on, you know. So just things like that. So for my personal belief, if I go to a yarn festival, that is where I will allow myself to buy more yarn. And I will support the makers because they go through a lot. I mean, it's really hard to have a booth. It's very difficult. And you know, you gotta come up with the booth fee. You gotta show up. You gotta have your tent set up. Whatever your setup is has to be ready. But before that, you're like dyeing yarn the whole way through, months in advance, weeks in advance, whatever it is. And then they're still running regular businesses and running shop updates and running, you know, wholesale orders and all this while creating this inventory to have at this show. So it's a lot. So I want to at least show some love to these people who are working so hard. And that's where I'm going to spend my money. So that being said, I'm not buying anything unless it like tugs at my heart. And I am going to use like what I did in Vogue Knitting Live. I saw a skein of yarn, I went home and I thought about it, and then I came back and I bought it the next day. I didn't just say, oh yeah, let me grab this now. Oh, let me grab that now. And that's kind of like sometimes we have that mentality at shows because it's like, oh, let me get this before everyone else gets it. The second day, the yarn is still there. You'll be fine. Like, don't go crazy. You'll be fine. Unless it's like maybe the show colorway, then you get a little bit, you know, you might have to be a little bit more quick with your thoughts on that. But other than that, like most of the yarn is still there. Like not everybody loves the color that you love. Not everybody loves pink. But I did meet one woman who said, oh, I hated pink. Now I love pink because of you. And I gave her a hug. I was like, oh, you're amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, you know. But anyway, let's get back to it. So I'm going to buy yarn at festivals with the intent to make something. I have to already know, all right, this is fingering weight yarn. I'm going to use this yarn to make XYZ pattern, right? Or whatever it is. Secondly, I will purchase yarn online if and only if it is to complete a project with yarn that I already have, because I don't want to go buying a whole new sweater quantity or whole new shawl quantity when I have very beautiful, amazing yarn right here in my stash that I am not loving because I'm not paying attention to it. So I need to go in my stash and see, okay, so-and-so came out with a pattern. I'm going to check this out. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to look at my stash. And since I have everything tabulated in Excel now, I can say, oh, here's a DK weight sweater pattern that needs 3 different colors and it's 5 skeins or 6 skeins or whatever, how much ever it is. I can go in look at my list and see, okay, this yarn from this particular company or that particular company, I can put it together. And then I can go in my stash where I have my DK weight set aside, all sectioned off, and I can pull those yarns and I can say, this looks good with that, this color looks great with that, boom, 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 and then boom, we have a sweater. And we did not go crazy hyper consumerism, spending money that we did not intend to spend. And we can put that money towards trips or experiences, like people visiting from wherever, and you guys just go out and have an amazing dinner and just you share that experience. That is where I want to put my focus in, right? So that being said, there is a bingo card that I and the women from Twin Aura Knits put together. Thank you so much, Jess and Erica. Thank you so much for all your input. I just was like texting them one day and I was like, hey, let's do this category, let's do that category, and just decided to put it all together in Canva, and amazing. Like I was just like, this rocks. So I am going to post that up. It's going to go up on my Instagram. You can screenshot a picture of it and utilize it on your own. We're gonna, or if you want me to DM it to you or send it to you via email, you can just leave a comment here and then we will find a way to send it to you. So I am going to put a picture of it right here so you can see what it looks like. And we're gonna have a fun bingo this year just to go through the stash and like tick off some projects. I mean, you can do whatever you feel if you want to join us, and you can hashtag Stash Galore 2024 if you want to just do one line, or if you want to get the full bingo page, you know, whatever you feel like doing. It is no pressure. Nobody's going to yell at you. There are no police here. There are no yarn police. What we do in our group, we have set aside where we will encourage each other, or we'll be like, girl, you don't really need that, you know, or it'll be like, oh my God, so-and-so just put up this update, somebody stop me. And then it'll be like, but don't you have a color similar to that in blah, 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 blah yarn? Or how about this other sweater that you already had started? And then you kind of like fall back and you're like, okay, I don't really need it, you know? Again, we're not not buying yarn. We are basically just curtailing the forthcoming purchases of yarn. And I choose my opinion alone. You could do what you want, but I choose to support people at festivals. And I must have a project in mind, ready to go, and then I'll purchase the yarn. Because if I buy yarn willy-nilly and I don't know what I'm buying it for, it may not end up being knit at all. So yeah. So another thing that I want to add, there are a bunch of knit-alongs happening, and I need to really dig through Stash to figure out what I want to make for these knit-alongs. So I'm going to let you know about a few coming up, and then I'll go to show you the next few things that I pulled Stash from to start and what I'm working on now and future projects. So let's get to it. So as far as knit-alongs go, Twin Aura Knits is doing a knit-along. It's a Valentine's Day knit-along, and basically you knit whatever you want. And initially they said red, but I was like, come on guys, I don't really have red in Stash, and I can't really go be buying red stuff now. I mean, I might have some stuff red, but no. I was like, come on, can we do pink? And they're like, of course you can do pink. Just do whatever you want. We are just, there's no like hardcore yarn police, like I said before. So it's just a fun way of us casting on Valentine's Day and making our projects. I think it's a 2-week deadline. I have to look again at the details, but I will post down here what they are. And if you want to follow along, if you want to be a part of it, join us with the hashtag on Instagram. It'll be totally cool. So I've decided on I've decided to make a pullover, and I may not finish it in time, but at least I'll get started. And I'm pulling everything from Stash, and I also made some purchases to go along with it so that you could see, so that I could, follow my rule that I made for myself, that if in order to complete something that I have in Stash, I'm only allowed to buy something else. So the sweater that I want to make, it involves using a fingering weight yarn as well as a mohair. And I didn't have all the colors in the mohair, so of course I had to buy them. But I did get them on sale, which is awesome. And oh yeah, adding that too, if I'm gonna buy yarn, it's gotta be on sale, like come on. So so we have that knit along happening. And there is also, today's February 4th, it is the start of, I'm gonna look at my notes here. It is the start of the Black History Month Craftivism Make-Along for 2024. This knit-along, make-along, this make-along, because it's both knit and crochet, features an array of patterns made by Black people. And it is run by Dr. Charlie Untangled. If you want to join, definitely go to drcharlieuntangled.com. There is a slew of patterns that are in there that you can use. You can use yarn made by someone who's Black. You can purchase some bags or stitch markers or anything that these makers make by someone who's Black. And it is really to highlight, for the month of Black History Month, to highlight these makers, these beautiful designers, these beautiful yarn dyers. And I have a few that I just looked at the list of what they have, and it is not an all comprehensive, like there are more people out there, but these are the ones that I saw that I kind of was like, oh yeah, I'm feeling that, So I'm gonna let you know right now a few of the patterns, and I will try my best to put up some pictures here so you can see them, and maybe you might be interested in joining. So I have four knitting patterns and 1 crochet pattern. Now, before we get into this whole knitting crochet, it's like, everybody's fighting. Listen, everyone has their own preference. I've learned to crochet first when I was like 12. And then I put it down, and then I really wanted to learn how to knit. And I didn't learn how to purl until I got into college. And then from that, everything just exploded. And then I saw a bunch of Vogue knitting magazines, into weave knits, stuff like that. And I just kind of fell more into knitting because for me, honestly, I can do it in my sleep. Literally, I close my eyes and then my hands are still going and I'm still knitting stockinette stitch. When it comes to crochet, I need to really take my time, slowly think about it, look, make sure I'm putting the hook in the right loop, whether it's the front loop, back loop, both loops, underneath, over, whatever it is. So it's amazing the amount of things people can do with crochet. I am just not there yet. So I am on the level of granny squares. I can do granny squares all day. I was doing a granny square blanket when I was in college. It's still not done, but that's beside itself. So that being said, I gravitate more to knitting patterns. I'm not throwing crochet by the wayside at all because there are some things that I want to make and I just need to like get into the groove of it. And the only way I'm going to get faster at it is if I actually do it, right? But then I get so like knitting is mindless for me. So I'm just like watch a movie, knit, sweater's done, you know? So, well, not really, but you know, cause all the whips, but you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like second nature to me, and crochet, I need to like really take my time and really think about it. That's why I don't necessarily gravitate to it first, but there is a space for it. It is beautiful. I've seen some beautiful things. I can't even properly read a crochet pattern. It confuses me, but it's so gorgeous. Like I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there one day. So let me go through these patterns and explain to you what it is, and you hopefully will follow suit and go and check it out and get some nice things yourself. Okay, so the first pattern for the Black History Month Craftivist MAL 2024 run by Dr. Charlie Untangled. Oh, let me just add before I get to the pattern, she has a whole list of different ways you can enter to get prizes, and I have forgotten all of them. So please go to her website, check her out, check out her YouTube channel. She did a full live on Instagram. Check it out and she'll tell you exactly how to get in and win a prize. So now that we're here, let's get to the patterns. So the first pattern that I fell in love with from the list of patterns that they had, you know, kind of curated is the Shawl Collar Jacket by Brandi, Cheyenne, Harper. I have known Brandi when String Thing was open. She was a teacher there. I met her instantly. We became like fast friends, and I admire all the work that she does. This shawl collar jacket is made out of super bulky yarn. I might have some in stash, so I have to check just to make sure that I have the right thickness yarn as well as the correct amount for the size that I want to make. But I have a feeling that this could be something that I could make. And it is, she has that Knitting for Radical Self-Care book. It's absolutely beautiful. If you haven't seen it yet, please give it a look, give it a buy, find something in there. They've got easy patterns, you know, different skill levels, but that you can, if you're a brand new knitter, you can still make something like beautiful, beautiful stuff. So, and the needle size that you use for this sweater is US 15. It's super huge, but it's one of these sweaters that's going to fly off the needles. So that is definitely something that I'm interested in doing. And then the next pattern that I saw is the Basset hat by, her name is Nabita Jouret. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. I'm gonna, write down everyone's name at the bottom. But it is yarn held together with, it says Aran weight here. So I think you hold the lace weight with maybe worsted or whatever you can do. If you want to hold 2 strands of lace weight with maybe a DK, you could still get Aran weight. I think whatever floats your boat, you can kind of get away with, but it uses mainly a size 8 US 8 needle, and it's a cute hat. It's like, I could totally see me wearing it. It looks like a pilot hat from the 50s, the 40s. I don't know. Like, it's got that, you know, the flip up thing, and then it comes down low in the back. And I think it's going to look really good with my hair, honestly. So I just might make it. And it's super cute, and it's ribbed. So it's going to be a bit stretchy to stretch over the curls. We need that, you know. So I think this is, when I saw the hat, I was like, yeah, this is super cute. I want it. So the next pattern that I saw, and I gotta give a shout out to my girl Sasha from Verona Knits. I met her at VKL, and it was like, oh my God, I wish I had more time to spend with you because you're super cool. And like, I got swept away somewhere and didn't get to really like sit down and have a really good conversation with her. But if I could do it again, I totally would, you know, rewind and like be like, hey girl, let's go sit in the corner and talk, because like, you're cool. But anyway, she made the Marley pullover, and it was initially made with La Bien Amie yarn, and it is sport weight. And let's see what else. The yarn is, I think it's a combination of things held together as well, and it's like in Tarja 3 colors, and it's a sweater that is forgiving because it has a little bit of positive ease to it, and you can do whatever colors you want. Like, it could be a really good stash busting sweater. So I saw that sweater and I fell in love, and I'm gonna dig in my stash and see what we have. Okay, so then after that, she's also made the Melrose hat. I'm looking at my notes here. She made the Melrose hat, and there's also a Melrose cowl that goes with it, and it's DK weight, US 4/6 needle, and it's also yarn held together with the lace. That's going to be a very like recently, like that has been something that is like happening. The holding something with the lace mohair and getting a different gauge. So it's forgiving, it adds extra warmth, and mohair is very lightweight, so you don't get the bulk, but you get the warmth. So it's amazing. So she's got the Melrose hat, and there's also a cowl that can be made with it as well. So if you go to her Melrose hat pattern, it'll like talk about the cowl, and there's a way you can get to it. So that is amazing. So those patterns I love. And now let's get to the crochet pattern. Okay, so the crochet pattern is called the Covey Cardi by India. What did I write here? India Wilkins. I can't write. I'm sorry. I wrote it too fast, and I'm like, I can't read what I wrote. What's wrong with me? So it is made in a worsted gauge, and it has a size H hook, which is 5mm. So now this yarn is perfect for scraps because you're making granny squares. So I have fallen in love with the granny square cardi, and all of my friends know that if I'm going to crochet something, I'm going to do granny squares. I've sat and watched videos on how to unit and like, this is the thing that drives me crazy. And this is why I haven't started, because I just have to do it. But it's like, I got to think through the whole technique of everything, right? So I'm like, okay, do I knit all the granny squares and then join them together? Or do I knit a granny square, then pick up one and keep going, and then pick up another one and keep going, and you know, all that stuff. So, and then there are different ways to sew them together. You can crochet them together. You can mattress stitch them together. There's all these different techniques on YouTube, which is awesome because you can go to YouTube and find anything, any way to make what you want. But that has paralyzed me. Why? So then, you know, it was like, initially you make X amount of little granny squares, like this size, right? And then you block them, and then you put them together somehow. And then it's like, do I really want to make all those granny squares? I mean, it's cool, but a lot of people get into this thing where they've only made half of all that they need and they didn't complete it. And it's like, I don't want burnout, you know what I mean? But this sweater is amazing because like the whole back is a huge granny square. And then you've got little granny squares going around it. Well, not little, but you know, smaller, like medium size, but smaller than the big one. And then it's like different size variations of granny squares mixed in together to make this pattern. And it is super cute. It is super cute. And I want it. So that is another pattern that I am jonesing over, that I highly recommend if you want to get started on something for this Black History Month Makealong. I would definitely recommend that you go out and, you know, give it a look. We are highlighting people because they just haven't been seen much in the industry, and we want to give them some light because these designers are amazing. Like, this person is getting me to seriously consider making a full cardigan in crochet. Me, who sits here like super slow crochet, I want to knit a full cardigan. So if that is not enough motivation, I don't know what is. So anyway, let's get to the other projects that I've already started or already chosen yarn for. So first and foremost, I am going to start with patterns that are already on the needles. And the first thing I want to do, I just moved my chair over here with some, I got some yarn here. I want to highlight okay, so for the month of January, there was the Monster Musselburgh Knitalong, right? And in this Knitalong, you take pieces of yarn. It could be minis, it could be ends of whatever, just whatever, scraps. And you piece them together and you make a Musselburgh hat. So I started off super exciting, and then I kind of faded when I got to this part, and this is what I've been knitting, this portion here, since VKL. So where this little marker is when I was on the train going to VKL the Friday. So I've done this much so far. I'm literally almost done, and this hat is going to be, you know, folded this way and literally put inside, and then you have the brim here, so you know you could kind of see. I'm not going to put it on my head all the way, but you kind of see where I'm going with this. So and it's going to be two versions. So I decided to do this first side with smaller and bigger stripes. Each stripe, I think the pink stripes are 4 rows, and then the bigger stripes are 10 rows, I think. And then this 6-inch section is going to be the brim, and I wanted the brim to be pink regardless of what. And then I started picking up here. These are even, these rows are even, all 8 rows. So this is what I had left. So the yarn I'm using is Botanical Yarns, and this is the it came in the Pinkmas box, or was it a Pinkmas? Okay, this is what happened. So Pinkmas came along, I ordered the box, and then Pinkmas, the color Pinkmas was made afterwards, but there was also a Pinkmas mini skein set, and there was like a Christmas pink box mini skein set or something like that. I can't remember what's what, but Sophie from Botanical Yarn, because I'm ordering from the UK, she messaged me and she's like, hey, do you want me to add this to your box? Because, you know, it's already, you know, like she didn't want me to pay double shipping. Sophie, love you. So I was like, yes, add it, invoice me, I'll send you the money, sure. So I got a lot of stuff in my Pinkmas box, and I can't remember what was originally in the box and what was extra. However, this bundle was so beautiful. I'm going to put a picture of it somewhere here so that you can see what it looked like before. But who would believe that one bundle could be this much of minis? Like, amazing. Sidebar, I counted how much minis I have, and I have at least 100 minis in a beautiful hat box, and I can make probably 20 Musselburgh hats with all the minis that I have. This is insane. But this is why we are doing Stash Galore, because we are loving our stash, including the minis, to make beautiful things. So yes, so this is the hat that I'm making. I did not complete it in time for the Knitalong because the Knitalong ended on the 31st of January. So again, I was like probably here during the 31st of January, but it's okay. It is almost to the point where I'm starting the decreases. So this should be done pretty soon. Hopefully by the next podcast, I'll be wearing this. So this is a beautiful Stash Galore project. And even though the Monster Musselburgh Knitalong is over, you can still make your own. Oh, I forgot to say, it is the Musselburgh hat designed by Isolde Teague. And what I love about it, if you didn't already know, first of all, I was under a rock, okay? These hats have been being made, like people have made 9, 10, 12 of them. I didn't know what the heck the big deal was about until I saw you know, some videos on YouTube, again, late at night, watching YouTube and knitting. And basically you start here and there's a circular cast on, and then you keep increasing. And when you get to about here, you measure your gauge, whatever needle you pick, because, you know, you might have just a bunch of needles laying around. You just say, you know, let me just grab this needle. It looks like it'll work, whatever. You may not even know what size it is. Does it matter? Not really. Because once you figure out the needle you're using and your gauge, and then you figure out how big your noggin is, then you can plug in the numbers in a beautiful Excel sheet that you can download, and boom, you have your hat pattern. And it tells you, if you want it longer, you could say, you know, I want it, you know, if it's supposed to be whatever amount of inches, you can add an inch or two to make it more slouchy, and it'll tell you how long to knit this. And this works with 100 gram skeins. So if you have 250 gram skeins, boom, there you go. You can make stripes, you can make an ombre, you can do whatever. This is what I love about this hat. I don't know how I've been laying under a rock for the longest time and didn't know about it, but this is not even my first one that I cast on. I cast on another one, but I had to like put that one on pause so I could join a knit along. So this is going to be done soon. And now I'm going to show you the next thing that I have on the needles from Stash. So we're still on the Botanical Yarns bandwagon. Can I just say, this yarn smells like lavender fields. I don't know what she uses when she washes the yarn, but sometimes in other yarn companies, the yarn smells like vinegar because a lot of people set their yarn in vinegar. It smells like lavender. It's beautiful. Like, does she just have a faucet of lavender flowers? Sophie, do you have a faucet of lavender flowers rinsing your yarn? Like, I just want to know. But anyway, no, seriously though. So this was the Pink Mist colorway. I'm gonna like bring it closer. Like, of course, you know, I love that hot pink, that little shot of pink in there. It is so cute. And then we also have this cute little Christmas progress keeper, like they like to say, that I have not used yet, but hey, it's fine. I'm savoring it. So I bought 4 skeins of this. I am making the Coorie in Poncho by Amy Palco. And it is so funny because the first time I went to Edinburgh, I stayed literally walking distance from Ginger Twist Studio. But Ginger Twist Studio was closed because Edinburgh Yarn Festival was happening. And I think they were there instead of the actual brick and mortar store, but it's okay. Second time around, I went to visit Ginger Twist Studio and I bought something. I can't remember what I bought, but it was like one of their specialty yarns. And Amy Palco designed this pattern with yarn from Ginger Twist Studio. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, what is going on? I'm intrigued. So I bought, so she holds it together, of course, to make a DK weight gauge. I told you a lot of times, everyone is doing this, holding the lace weight mohair with, you know, whatever the other yarn is, the plied yarn. And I think she held it together with a fingering weight yarn to get the DK weight gauge. So here I am. I just bought the DK weight yarn because I just fell in love with it. So I started the Coorie and Poncho, and here it is. And I have beautiful stitch markers. This I got from Black Pearl Magic from Shayla. And there's another one here. This is what I got in my Christmas box from Botanical Yarn. And we have this little holographic, Black Pearl Magic had a holographic Christmas box. So that's what I got. So what I love about this is, if you look at it, there is a short row section right here, which will be in the back of the neck so that it doesn't pull back. It'll like stay up, and it is practically invisible the way it was written. This pattern is written beautifully, okay? Beautifully. Like, you don't have to question anything. And it's super stretchy. It got over my hair, okay? So we're not gonna put it on now because I don't wanna get makeup on it, but whatever. So yeah, here we are. And literally, once you get through this short row section, you do raglan increasing, and you're literally increasing every other row as a normal raglan you would do. And you increase to a specific amount of stitches. And then there's some ribbing that happens at the end. I think I have to double check the pattern, but like this has been my go-to pattern when it comes to visiting or like knit nights or visiting friends or hanging out and knitting in the cafe, knitting, wherever. Monday night knit nights, stuff like that, whatever we do. It's kind of dark, but like I said, I knit without looking. So I'm just like buzzing along, and then boom, we have a poncho. So I want to make a whole bunch of these. I want to thank Christina from Chelsea Yarns, because she made one with her advent colors and held together with like one of the mohair lace weight yarns, and it was beautiful, fantastic. And I was like, okay, Christina, you got me jonesing for this. And then like, I could not wait for this freaking yarn to get here from the UK fast enough. I was stalking the post office, and it takes about a week. Well, at least during Christmas time, and which was like, I was shocked because like, oh my God, it came in a week. Like, are you serious? They really did a good job. I will say that much. I'm usually hating on the post office, but Royal Mail did their thing. Okay. So that's all said and done. So I'm working on this, and I have a few more projects lined up that I'm going to show you coming up. Okay. So for this upcoming sweater, I would like to thank Jess and Erica from Twin Aura Knits for cluing me into this sweater at all, because I saw it on their Vlogmas and it's a beautiful sweater. It is the Color Play Pullover by Beth McDonald Stone. Beth was actually at VKL, and I did not get to meet her because it's a huge place and you don't get to see everybody that you want to see. But I saw some of her pictures that she posted on Instagram after the fact, and I was like, oh man, I didn't get to say hi, So they come up with this Color Play Pullover, and every year, every day, Jess and Erica are adding, colors from their advent calendar, and I'm like, wait, how much minis does it take? And then I look in my stash, and I have some beautiful yarn. Sorry for the crinkling. But this is Lazu Fingering from Julie Astley. I bought this yarn at some knitting festival somewhere. Do I remember? Absolutely not. I remember there was a shawl that was like, it faded one color into the center and then another one. Do I remember the name of the shawl? Absolutely not. This is why when you're in a knitting festival, you're supposed to write things down, because I just bought it and I was like, oh yeah, I'll remember it. No, I don't. And it was, Ravelry from like, I don't know how many months ago. So anyway, this is 10 skeins of yarn altogether, 10 mini skeins, and they are 29 grams, not the usual 20 grams. So I have a lot more that, to make up for. I'm not making a size small here. I'm doing a large, right? So I needed a little extra yarn. And then I also had, in some minis that I found these. So I'm gonna like hold them up. So this can be the beginning and this can be the end to add to it. And I also had these minis, which I can also add. Sorry again, but like this will be the beginning. So basically I'm gonna take the darkest gray, then add the lightest pink, and then the next lighter gray, and then the next darker pink, and then we're gonna just go down the whole length of the sweater. So what is actually driving me a bit insane right now is figuring out, I have to do a swatch, I have to do a gauge swatch and figure out how many rows the body is gonna take and what am I gonna have left over for sleeves and how many rows we're gonna do on the sleeve. But I want it to be equal. So I have to figure that all out. And so when I brought this up to the Twin Aura Knits, it was December and we were like, we are not gonna buy yarn in 2024. And then we're like, no, we have provisions. But still, again, I was sticking to my provision of buying yarn for something only if and only if it helped me complete something with stash that I already have. So lo and behold, I had to buy sorry for the crinkling again. I had to buy the mohairs. So I got these from Webs. This is my favorite one. It has glitters in it. It's so So, and some of them are bigger than the others. I'm gonna mix and match them all different ways, but overall we're gonna have a nice beautiful gradient. All these yarns. I did get a black one as well. This has a bit of sparkle in it as well. So we're just gonna have fun with this color play pullover, and I am deciding that this is going to be my Valentine's Day cast on. So if I'm not out somewhere on a date, I'll be making this. Or maybe I'll just cast it on and then go on a date. We'll see. We'll see what happens, because I'm not predicting anything. Anything is possible. But yeah, this will be my color play pullover, and this is utilizing Stash, and it is, I bought this yarn on sale, so I was able to get this yarn on sale. So it all works into Stash Galore 2024. So I have one more project that I have in mind using my Stash yarn, and I wanted to show you again. Remember I said I have so much sock yarn because sock yarn is not Stash until it is, right? So I decided to join the Stephen West HiberKnitalong, and it wasn't my choice. I got sucked in. So he posted one that had an orange theme to it, right? So my mom, she's a brand new knitter. She has knit the body of a sweater. We just have to work on the sleeves because we're tweaking them because the pattern needs a little adjustments for her size, but it's okay. We're gonna work on that. But she knows how to knit. She knows how to purl. She knows how to yarn over. And I think she's ready for a shawl. And if she's making the shawl, I'm gonna have to help her, right? So she went like an amazing knitter straight to Stephen and Penelope and bought the yarn. And I'm like, look at you. You're buying a whole shawl kit? Who do you think you are? You're my mom, of course. I taught you how to knit, of course. Like, hello. So anyway, she went and had fun buying new yarn, and I was like, I want to buy new yarn. I want to buy new yarn. Let's see what I have in Stash first. So I pulled out, I had a while back, the last Vlogmas I did, I had an advent calendar from Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. And it was called In December We Wear Pink. This is the box that it came in. So I decided to utilize, reduce, reuse, recycle. Use this box and put all my yarn for this Hyber Knitting KAL. So, sorry about that. So, to start off with, you have to, it's an ombre knit along, right? So I had these skeins from Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. And some of them really are, there's very subtle variation between the beginning pinks, but then it gets to like a little deeper of a pink. And I was just picking and choosing different colors randomly to kind of make this whole fade. So then, we end up with this pink, and then we go to this one. And this yarn is, you might not be able to see that, but it is from Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. So this was part of, I got hair in my eye. Oh, this is, whoa, okay. This was part of, this was part of the kit that, for the knit along. What am I saying? This was part of the advent calendar, right? So then, sorry for shaking the camera. So then the next skein I have is from Five Borough Yarns. And this was from their Sex in the City advent calendar. We got a full slew of yarns, and then this was the bonus yarn that came with it, because I love to order the bonus yarns. I mean, come on, why not? It's a once in a lifetime thing, right? And then I have this yarn from Asylum Fibers called Cosmic Heartbeat that was gifted to me, and boom, we have a fade. And I didn't have to go out and buy anything because I had all these beautiful yarns in Stash. So this is what it's all about. Stash Dash. Sorry, I keep saying Stash Dash. You know what? When Stash Dash comes along in, when is that? It's in the summertime. I think it's the end of May through August. This is going to be awesome because I'll already have all these yarns in Stash that I've already you know, categorized, and I'll be ready. But Stash Galore 2024, I'm ready for you. I've got all the yarns, I've got everything going, and this is what it's all about. So I am here encouraging you. Please love your stash. Do not feel guilty about the yarn that you have purchased in various places, whether it be online, whether it be supporting your local yarn shop, whether it be supporting someone at a festival, whether it be, you know, I was just having yarn fumes hit me and I bought that. Do not feel guilty about it. Find something beautiful to make with it. Match it up with something else. There are tons of patterns out there for advent yarns and scrap yarns and all these different things. I'm gonna try my best to feature as much as I can to maybe if you didn't think about it, you can do something else. For example, the color play pullover that I'm going to make, it's kind of like basically a do what you want kind of thing. Some people do ombre, some people do stripes. The original pattern, I don't think it was as stripy as I'm going to make it, but you know what? It's going to be cute. So have fun with your stash. I'm encouraging you. Love your stash. Do not feel guilty about this beautiful craft of knitting and crochet that you have in your life. And I'm going to just let you in on a little bit of more of what drove me into this, from a mental standpoint, from you know, a self-care, self-help standpoint. And if you're interested in that, stick along. I'll let you know my story, and then we'll, you know, we'll get back to knitting. Yeah. Okay, so I just want to talk about the reason why we knit and how it helps us with our mental health, with self-care. I I haven't been diagnosed with any of these unseen, I would say, chronic afflictions. However, sometimes I feel like my brain is too much is going on, right? Sometimes, even though I'm smiling, I get depressed about certain things at some point. Sometimes the weight of the world is just too much for me to handle. Sometimes, you know, we all have our emotions. Emotions go up and down. And knitting is usually my way to break through these feelings. And many times when I'm feeling down, I just have a knit night with my friends, and like the whole world, it just changes. It just changes my mood. It makes me happy. It makes me feel love again. It makes me feel excited. It makes me feel happy about things to come and the amazing projects I'm gonna make. I get inspired. I learn new things, like all these things, and all these things are positive things in your life. However, lately I've been seeing a lot of my friends and me as well. We've gotten literally really overwhelmed by our stashes. And I'm seeing, like, I look at these videos of, oh, organize my stash with me. And the person just looks like helpless. And it doesn't even matter how much balls of yarn you have, because the person who has 100 skeins of yarn, and then the person like me who has 900 skeins of yarn, we have the same look on our face when we see all the yarn in front of us. We are overwhelmed. So I'm just gonna go through like what happened, why Vlogmas didn't happen, and what happened in my life to kind of make me get a hold of things and turn it around. I have been watching a few, again, YouTube videos, and I was interested in what the therapies were for people on the ADHD spectrum. So I've been looking into some of those, and it was like, why do we procrastinate? And clutter as a response to trauma in your childhood. And these things are real. I'm not saying that they all affect me, but I'm interested in seeing what it is, because there has to be some reason why everybody in this day and age is going through these things that we're going through, right? So I realized that, you know, clutter is something that is in general holding your creativity hostage, more or less. And when you see something clear, you feel better about yourself, and the ideas start flowing and things start flowing again. And I decided that, not that I'm going to be a super duper minimalist, but I've decided to get rid of things that no longer serve me, right? I had this sweater for how long? Do I wear it? Things like that. Like, there could be a space in your house that is just a culmination of things, right? And it doesn't look good because it's just a pile of junk. And sometimes we go through stuff, and I was also looking at different clutter videos. When you touch something, figure out what you really want to do with it. Because if you, they call it shifting, like when you shift things, you're just moving stuff from one place to the next. So you have this pile, and then you move these piles. And then it's like, you just put more stuff over there. Even though over here is clear, now you got to deal with all that stuff over there, right? So once you touch something, you really have to realize, does this suit me? Do I need this? So I did I had bags of mail that, okay, I paid the bill already. Why do I still have this? The bill is paid, shred it, stuff like that. I went through my whole closet. I have gained weight since I had a surgery 3 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago. I'm not going to fit those clothes that I bought when I was that size. Am I going to fit them next month? No. But you know what? There are a bunch of new people in the United States who have nothing, and they're going to these Salvation Army. They're going to St. Mary's Church. They're going to get clothes. And some of them can fit this size medium sweatshirt that I bought that is not going to fit me right now because I can't get my arm in it because I'm a large. And it's okay. I'm happy with my body the way it is. You find clothes to fit. We're knitters. We make clothes to suit us, right? So why am I holding on to this when I can give it to someone who can utilize it better? So I did the whole thing of the closet, got rid of like 6 bags of clothes and shoes. Then I used to have like the beauty subscriptions. If any of you know me, know my other Instagram is Brooklyn Beauty Addicts. I haven't posted in a long time, but every time I got a new lipstick, I'd be like, ooh, look at this lipstick, or ooh, look at these lashes, or look at this box from BoxyCharm, it was BoxyCharm back then. It's now Ipsy, whatever. So for over a year, I've had these beauty subscriptions, and it was great because initially when I got rid of all my old makeup, I had nothing. So I used it as an opportunity to gain more products, skincare products, beauty, eyeshadow palettes, lipsticks, eyeliners, blushes, whatever, hair products. But it became the point where it's like, okay, how many AHA, BHA, resurfacing skin serums do you need? I have one face. So I decided to take a close look at my finances and decide to cut out things that like I said, no longer serve me. So I stopped with the BoxyCharm. I went through my whole cabinet of my bathroom with the shampoos, the conditioners, the body lotions, the soaps, the everything. Whatever was old, smelling funky, whatever, tossed. And whatever was like, you have something this big and there's this much in it. I bought those little travel things, when you go away, those little syringe thingies, and I squeezed that in it and I threw out the big bottle. So now I actually have space for all of the things. And then, of course, the analytical person in me decided to quantify everything. And there are like 200 items. Like, why do I need all that? So I made a list. What do I use first? I have all these mini face creams. If I'm going away on a trip, I'm not saving 10 little mini face creams to take one of them on a trip. I'm going to use them. And when I decide to go on a trip, I'll just decant the stuff from my favorite face cream and put it into the little one and take it. And that's it. And get rid of the clutter. So little things like that I've been doing. And I will say it has meant the world to me. And it has changed the way I view making purchases and utilizing things and giving. And, you really appreciate. You go to the back of your closet and you're like, I didn't realize I had 2 alpha hydroxy acid BHA face serums. I can keep my skin glowing for 2 years now. Like, Do I need to go to the fancy spa and pay buku bucks? No, I just use that once a week. But I found it in my closet. I didn't have to go out and buy it again. So you utilize what you have, you know? So I did that. So let's get into what happened in November. So I came back from Barcelona. That podcast is to come. I will show you exactly what I purchased. Everything has a purpose. And I bought a lot of Spanish yarn, Spanish wool, things that I could not get here in the States readily available. So I love everything I bought. But literally the day I landed, I had to make 4 cakes for a client. And I had forgotten about it. And I was like super sleepy because of the jet lag. And I was getting a cold or some sort of sinus something or the other. And I just wanted to sleep. So I was like, all right, fine. I'll put the 2 cakes in the oven. 2 at a time. The cakes went in the oven. Okay, great. And I'm like sitting there waiting for the cake. And I'm just like, oh, like waiting for it to, you know, bake or whatever. Luckily, it was a cake it was the rum cake with the syrup. I didn't have to do a full-fledged frosting, you know, extravaganza. So it was an easy cake to make, but yet and still I was tired. And then that was the day before Thanksgiving Eve, right? When I flew back. So then now we're into Thanksgiving. And of course I have Thanksgiving orders to do because, you know, you're running a business. You don't want to tell your clients no, especially on a holiday. So it even got to the point where someone literally texted me the day before Thanksgiving. It's like, and can you make, and I'm like, I'm really sorry. I have to cook for my family on Thanksgiving. Like I cannot, like I got to cut it off at some point. And you have to self-care. You have to know when to set your boundaries, you know, like I really didn't want to do last minute stuff, but like if I could see it being feasible, I'd do it. But no, it was just, that day was just not, I was still tired from traveling. So Thanksgiving, I got through Thanksgiving. We did, we also had, my mom does some catering. So we had a party, one of our friends, he threw a party and he asked us to bring some dishes and serve it the day after Thanksgiving because he's having a thank you party. And I'm like, why are you doing this when everybody has Thanksgiving food at home? Dude, you couldn't pick another weekend? Like, I want to sleep. So anyway, I think the next day I slept the whole day. I hadn't even touched my knitting. Like I knit on the plane and I haven't even picked that up yet. So after Thanksgiving was Vlogmas, or what was supposed to be Vlogmas, right? So as you know, Vlogmas didn't happen. So the first few days of December, I decided, yes, I'm doing Vlogmas because the people want to know what's going on with Mekamika, right? And people have written to me on Instagram. They've seen me at VK. I'm like, girl, what happened to your Vlogmas? And I'm like, I'm sorry, but I needed to step back for me. I'm reminding you now, this is the time when I felt overwhelmed with all the yarn and all the things that needed to be decluttered. Let me add that I also decluttered the kitchen cabinets, and there was stuff in there that didn't even have an expiration date on it. I don't even know how it got into my cabinets, but like that had to go. So like, we're not eating old food because like we're not getting ourselves sick, right? So anyway, so I was just like, it was too much. It was overwhelming. It was too much. I didn't have time. Like I just needed to turn off my phone and focus on this one cabinet. And this is the thing that I was talking about before when I picked up on those things from the to help the person who has clutter plus ADHD or is on the ADHD spectrum. Like you see everything, you get overwhelmed, and then you procrastinate and you don't do a thing. But the problem is everything being overwhelming is not going to settle your mind because you're still seeing it the next day overwhelming you. And then you're just going to say, oh no, I'm not going to do that today. So I decided not today. This specific cabinet is going to get overhauled today. And that's what happened. And that's through all of December. I took my time. And a lot of times it's, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, but you know, I already scheduled knitting events, which is great because that's when I hang out with my friends. That's my escape, right? But then you come back home and then it's like, this cabinet is a monstrosity. So you have to really take the time to really go through it and really declutter and really figure out what you really want. Really, you have to put in the work. And that's the thing. You get overwhelmed with all the stuff. And then it's like, okay, let me focus on this one thing. And then you know what happened, which was amazing? You see one section is in its pristine beauty. And then you're like, okay, I did that. Kudos, I did that. You're like, yes. And you realize it didn't take as long as you thought it would have. And what have you been procrastinating for? And you know what? I did that yesterday. I could do over there tomorrow. And lo and behold, slowly everything falls into place. Everything gets into a point where it looks beautiful and peaceful. And then your creativity starts coming back again. And it took me a while. And then it kind of coincided with the new year. And everyone's on this, 2024. It's like as soon as the clock strikes midnight, I'm going to be a total different person. No, it doesn't work like that. You're not a total different person because the year switches. You're a total different person because your mindset switches. And in order for that mindset to switch, you have to work at it bit by bit. So I am no longer the person that walks into my closet and gets frustrated because I have 10 sweatshirts that don't fit. Those have been given to someone, hopefully, already, I hope. Or they're on their way to being given to someone who came and has nothing. And they might have a daughter or a son that can fit that sweatshirt. And there you go. They've got a sweatshirt now. But I have 3 sweatshirts that fit me perfectly. And now I've made space in my cabinet for the new sweaters that I knit, AKA this one. So it all works out. It all works out. But you just have to put in the work. If you want to make a change in your life, you have to put in the work. You can't just snap your fingers and all of a sudden everything's perfect. I am not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But we need to set goals for ourselves that are attainable. Don't beat ourselves up about it if we don't make those goals. Make a list of things. Tick things off. And if you can't get all 10 done today, you have a start for tomorrow. You might want to move what you thought you could do today to next week, but you have a frame of reference for getting things done. And it doesn't become this roller coaster in your head anymore because you've already checked off items 1, 2, and 3. And you look around and your space is a little bit nicer and this clutter is gone. And now you can breathe easy. And it helps with everything. It helps with your blood pressure. It helps with your anxiety levels. And that is what I want to bring to you today. This is where Stash Galore 2024, the origins of it, this is where it came about. In my quest to just find peace and love knitting again, love the fiber arts. I cleared out my knitting, organized my stash so much that I found my fabric stash. And I was speaking to Shayla, who we all love and know that she's an amazing sewist. She's like, girl, you better pull out your sewing machine. Come on, what are you waiting for? Now I have a challenge. But it's a beautiful one because my brain is not cluttered anymore and I could actually focus on doing it. So I'm gonna leave you with that. Oh no, I'm not gonna leave you with that. I still gotta talk about finished objects. But yeah, that is basically my mindset and how it all works. And you know, I know this is a knitting podcast. You come on here to see the knitting, but there's a person behind those needles. We are not perfect. We go through things. We are emotional. We are a product of our environments. The world, there's so much craziness going on. It affects us in many different ways. And we have to use our talents as a tool to make our lives a lot nicer, a lot better, make us better people, make us kinder people so we can be kind to everyone else. and extend that love that we feel when we knit and crochet. We need to extend that love, and that's what I'm saying. And then now I'm going to talk about my sweater. So this is you've been looking at this all day. What is this sweater? This is the Love Note, and I purchased the yarn for this when I was in my rose gold phase that I still haven't left yet. This was when like rose gold was like all the rage. Like you were just seeing things on Amazon pop up with all these rose gold things. It was about 2019, I think, and it was April. And I went to the Toronto Frolic, the Fiber Frolic, I think they called it, if I remember correctly. It was at the Japanese Center in Toronto. And everything I bought was rose gold. Oh my God. And then there was the knitting. God, what is the name of this store now? I lost it. But I'm going to put it down here. It's an easy name. And Maria, I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting the name of your shop right now. Anyway, so I went to this knitting store, and it was also like I Love Yarn Day or something. Like there was like all these things, like Love Your LYS Day, or it was something. So the Knitting Loft, there we go, boom. So we went to the Knitting Loft, and then we went to the festival, and then we went back to the Knitting Loft the next day because they had a knit night or something. They gave me like this Earl Grey latte. It was really delicious. I remember these things so distinctly. But I bought the yarn there. So as you all know, Love Note, designed by Tin Can Knits, Canadian designer. I was all over it. Everybody, like, I feel like everyone has attempted to make a Love Note. And it's a very easy sweater, and it's very forgiving, and it's very full of positive ease. You have this whole thing here, and the lace is just enough to be interesting, but not be like too much, right? And then by the time you get into the lace, it's like it's done, and it's like, oh, and it's on size 10 needles, so it's fast, right? I had this sweater on the needles since 2018, 2019, whatever year that was. And it's been like literally in a bag sitting. And when I looked at it again in December, it was literally, I just had the sleeves to go. And I was like, no. I think I finished one sleeve and I had the other sleeve to finish. And I was going to finish both sleeves and then lengthen the body until I ran out of yarn, right? So the yarn I used, if I remember correctly, was Farmer Daughter's Fibers. There was, I think it was a rose gold colorway, 2 skeins of that. And 2 skeins of Biche and Bouche, if I pronounced that properly. I don't know. There was another colorway that was very similar to rose gold. If it's not rose gold, it was something of that sort. And that was the mohair silk. And then I used Gyps Annie, which is a metallic thread. So I don't have it up here because I didn't know if it was going to itch, but if you look a little closer, I don't know if you can see the glittery stuff, but it's in there. So the whole rest of the sweater is full of glitter. Maybe you can see it there. So what happened was I had stopped knitting it because I ran out of the glitter. So I ordered it from Canada, came again, and I ordered more than I needed because you never know how much you're really going to need. So then I finally finished the sweater. So I knocked 7 skeins of yarn out of my stash. So it's all gone. Well, actually, I still have some Gyps Annie left over. I don't know what I'm going to use it in, but maybe if I do a striped cowl, I could just throw it in there with something. Who knows? But this is my first FO of 2024, and I'm super excited about it. I've already worn it like 3 times. Very happy. The catalyst to me wearing this is my friend Joyce had a birthday party, and we were going to celebrate. Her birthday was the beginning of January, and we went out to a Greek brunch, and the thing was we needed to be sparkly. That was our dress code, because my friend who invited us, my friend Claudia, she was like, girl, we're doing dress code, we're gonna take pictures, it's gonna be fun. I'm like, okay, great, I'll do sparkly, whatever. So I figured the sparkle sweater, I wore it with a sparkly sequined skirt, and we had a blast. So that was the catalyst. It's always I'm telling you, it's always an event that I'm like finishing the sweaters. And then when I finished knitting it, I literally finished the sleeves in a weekend, and I'm like, what took me so long? What took me so long to finish this? So that being said, take a look at your whips, reevaluate your whips, figure out what you want. There's going to be a whole whip thing coming up soon, maybe, possibly. But knit from your stash. You have hidden treasures just waiting to be finished to wear and make you happy. First FO of 2024. I have one more intention, and this might be a bit ambitious, but you aim for the moon and you fall amongst the stars. So I'm going to do it. So my goal is 24 sweaters in 2024. And these are not brand new sweaters. These are complete 24 sweaters in 2024. Adult size, not baby sweaters. Things that are on the needles. I have so many things on the needles that just need a neck or a sleeve or 2 sleeves or whatever, you know, the body's almost done. Like, and I have this problem. I mean, it's not a problem. This is the way I think. I like to lengthen my body on the sweaters. So I will knit until like I run out of yarn. Then I'll pick up the sleeves. I'll knit the sleeves to where I want them to be and then finish the body. So I have a lot of sweaters that are like half a body and like 1 sleeve or half a sleeve or both sleeves happening but not fully done. So I need to get on it. I need to get on it. So I'm going to leave you with that for real now. I'm going to say good night and thank you so much for being here this long, listening to me ramble on about all the things for Stash Galore 2024. Thank you so much for just listening to the whole self-care aspect of it, of just knitting in general. I hope that I was able to help some people who might be going through the same bit of brain fog when it comes to just getting things done and being overwhelmed with life. We have to compartmentalize things sometimes and go for the things that you can control. You know, you can control your space, you can control what's in your space, and once you have control over that, it can leak into different areas of your life and things will change, but it's not going to happen overnight. Little by little, day by day, you work towards it, and then a month or 2 later you're like, wow, I'm here now and I'm still moving forward. So I am going to send all the positivity out to you in the world, and thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, leave a comment, hit the notification button, whatever you would like to do if you want more content from me. I am just a girl in Brooklyn who loves to knit, and I am not perfect. I'm not famous. I'm just literally going through this world and using knitting as a tool to reach my creativity and bring it to another level and learn things and make my life fun and exciting. So if you are similar in that realm and you like to be a part of all of that and like to, you know, hang out and knit and have a coffee or wine or a cocktail or tea at any given day, on any given day, and have a few snacks, then I think you're cool and I want to hang with you. So come back, see what I'm up to, and have an amazing night. Take care. Thank you for watching.